is Peter Clark, and I have been asked to share with you some thoughts, experiences, and examples of building on or near the waterfront using sustainable materials and processes. What does sustainability mean? For the Institute for Sustainability Infrastructure, it means, and I quote, "The sustainable society meets the needs of the present without sacrificing the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs." You can interpret that any way you see fit, but I think in short numbers, what it means is that let's not sacrifice our future kids and their kids' ability to get into the sustainable world. So as we navigate through the presentation, I'll attempt to explain each slide kind of slide by slide. And we can start by explaining what you're looking at here. This apparently was a fairly recent dock done somewhere along the Gulf. Maybe some of you know where it is. And as you can see, it was hit by a sailboat. You can make the outline of the boat stuck under the dock there. Certainly, we can't avoid catastrophic issues. We design materials to a certain level, a certain element of failure. And in this case, the impact of the sailboat overran the elements of the material used. I think it was a timber dock. And I understand that aside from the impact of the boat, a lot more damage was done after they pulled the boat out and they had to rebuild the whole thing or some such thing. But anyway, moving on. This is a slide, and some of you, I'm sure, will recognize some of the players here. And I'll be brief as we go through the explanation. On the top left, we're featuring fiberglass pilings. These are Pearson pilings. The application here stems from anything from home foundation to ship fendering systems to offshore structures, piers, docks, bollard structures, you name it. Below that is an FRP sheet pile product. There was an interesting article done a few years back by the International Institute of Composites, kind of commending these folks for their ability to think outside the box and come up with an FRP sheet pile that was vastly superior to vinyl. Is it more money? A bit, but it has some tremendous advantages over vinyl. Bottom right, I'm sure a lot of people listening will recognize David Walter's reef maker. At Pearson Pilings, we have partnered up with Reef Maker to be the installation medium, if you will, when anchoring these pilings to the ocean floor or the Gulf floor. If some of you went to the meeting in Mobile some years ago, we took a bus trip over to Pensacola, and get on a boat and went out and looked at a structure that Reef Maker was working on. And top right, these are composite shapes that we're using to build docks and piers. This product comes from Bedford Reinforced Plastics. We have a tremendous relationship with this company. And as we get down the line in some of these slides, you'll see some more application for that. Infrastructure. This was taken right off a page that an author did on sustainable infrastructure. And basically on the left, it shows on the top left, that's an all composite pier. I mean, a walkway over a ravine. Next picture down is a composite structural pier. Third slide down is an aerial shot of a reef maker project off the coast of Bayou Labatt in, I guess it's Mississippi. And the last structure down is another gangway made out of all composite material. You know, what we're trying to understand is, you know, let's build a sustainable infrastructure. Let's identify who we are and what we can offer. Let's understand the history of your company and what composite products might envelope into what you're doing, and then identify mutual goals and how we can help on current or future projects. Pretty interesting stuff. Most people don't give it much thought, although I think people are beginning to give it more thought than they realize. And moving on, please. The world is changing. You can just read through this, and basically what it talks about is the progress that's been made in the world of composite materials, polymer composite structural materials, or FRP, as most of us, you know, refer to it as, and what's happening in the 20th century, the 21st century, and so on and so forth. And all this has been blessed by the American Society of Civil Engineers. They are big proponents of I would say environmentally sensitive, sustainable areas. The one thing that we do but the challenge they have is getting the engineering community, and please don't anyone be offended by this, getting the engineering community as a whole to wrap their arms around this new technology. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into an engineer's office and they just look at some of this new stuff and say, well, that's ridiculous, that won't work, or that's too much money, or this, that, and the other thing. It really isn't any of those things. So anyway, the Institute for Sustainable Infrastructure has come up with kind of a, would say, a rating system or a grading system for sustainable infrastructure projects and so on and so forth. And I don't want to dig too deep into this because I'm not as versed on it as some people might be. But just to let you know that there are people in high places that really are watching the evolution of these products. And the Institute for Sustainable Infrastructure, in concert with the American Society of Civil Engineers, is one of them. This is a study that one of our guys did some time ago to determine what federal governmental agencies can we identify that really have an interest or have proven themselves to have an interest in kind of an interrelationship between principles of stability and substance stability and public and private sectors. And you can see Department of Air Force, Department of Defense, Forest Service, Army Corps of Engineers, obviously NASA, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and on and on and on and on. And actually, on the piling side of things, we've done projects for many of these different organizations. So it just here lends credibility to what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that I think it's a nice it's nice to be identified with groups like this. One of the things that I was asked to do is pick and choose a few projects that we've done that were really kind of all composite and detailed in some depth, at least one of them. And I've chosen a dock that we did in Calabash, North Carolina. And it was interesting working with this couple. They had a keen interest in the evolution of materials. They had a keen interest in sustainability. They clearly understood the need for investing in the future and investing in something that is better than what they are used to. So as you read through this, it talks a little bit about the owner's approach to addressing the problem of, not dealing with wooden piers, saying that their neighbors, every few years, their piers get washed away. That certainly is something that we've all seen, especially on the Gulf Coast or waterfront areas. In the last hurricane that y'all folks had over in the Pensacola area, I guess, I don't remember the name, but Sally maybe, whatever it was. I know that literally hundreds and hundreds of docks were wiped out, destroyed, and needed to be replaced. And we're starting to see already, because believe it or not, a lot of people are just getting their insurance settlements. We are now getting calls from owners and contractors who are finally getting the insurance end of it squared away, and they're coming to us saying, okay, now how do we build this thing so it will never fail again? Well, to make a statement like that is ridiculous. Everything has a tolerance point, but we can get pretty doggone close to it. So this particular structure features Pearson Piling's Monophile System. We have learned through testing that it doesn't make any sense to use 2 pilings per bent. You don't get anything out of it, no more strength. Everyone knows that a round piling dissipates energy or wave energy or wind more efficiently and faster than a square pile. And we have projects in South America that have been in Venezuela. There's one that's been operational for 14, 16 years, and the fetch on that project is 35,000 miles. It's right on the Gulf, and there's low land obstruction for ever and ever and ever. So this project it's a Pearson Piling Monophile project. You can see the framing is all composite framing from Bedford Plastics. We use C-channel shape in most cases for the cross-dock members, and we used H-pile, wide flange H-beam for the longitudinals. Everything comes pre-engineered, holes are drilled. Don't supply the fasteners, that's up to the contractor to do. But I guess in a previous slide, there was a picture maybe of the homeowner running up and down on the dock with his little Gator tractor. And the guy just loves it. And he has talked 3 or 4 of his neighbors. I don't think he had to do much of a selling job, but he's invited his neighbors to join in his success by building their own docks like this. So a great project. It was one of the first ones we did several years ago, but it has really paid off because we're doing about 2 a month now. And we can actually provide this as a kit. Once we know the dimensions of the job, we ship everything in one load, meaning the composite shapes, pilings, everything. Next, this is another all composite dock. This was a big dock. This is in Chatham, Massachusetts. And I guess we would have had a better understanding of how aggressive it is if the hurricane had gone to the Cape, which it did not. But this is another all composite structure by Pearson Pilings, Bedford reinforced plastics. And this particular dock features through flow premium decking, which we recommend highly because it has that flushing element to it, meaning not only does it allow water to cool up through it and seep back down, but it's compliant with some of the federal regulations as to light emissions as that relates to grass growth and so on and so forth. So as you can see, the contractor was a local guy up in Dennisport, Mass, which is on Cape Cod. They did a great job. The only drawback here was the owner thought that he'd have enough time to kind of build it himself. Well, he didn't, so we sent one of our crews down there because the shop's only 30 minutes away, and they finished the assembly. So it was a good project and another example of building sustainable. This dock will be there for 150 years. They'll never have to touch it. Interesting project. This is a project that we did at a private real estate development called the Veranda in Rosenberg, Texas. And this is a cooperative effort between Permatrek, the precast boardwalk decking system, and Pearson Filings. And it was engineered locally, and it was installed by Millis Construction in Missouri, Texas. We work with on a regular basis. But the Permatrek tread system process is becoming very popular around the country. It's very simple to install. It's a little tiny bit more money, but I think if you want something that's got longevity in mind, this is one of the ways to go. It can be designed differently. They have fooled around for years with different methods of attachment, if you will. We came up with kind of a concrete cap that solves all their problems. So most of these projects now you'll see are Permatrek / Pearson, and they are beautiful looking when they're done. They envelope into a kind of a woodsy environment, marshy environment very well. Installation can sometimes be a challenge because of the conditions. If they're muddy and you got to get certain types of equipment. But all in all, a very successful project. Again, that's Permatrek. They're located, I think, in the Carolinas somewhere, North Carolina maybe. And if you have any questions, you can let me know and I'll fill you in. Seahorse. Seahorse Estates in Freeport, Texas. Freeport, Texas is 30 minutes down the beach from Galveston. This started out to be a residential area. This was going to be a private dock. This is another example of our Monophile system. Some of these pilings are 12, 14, 15 feet above the mud line. This sits on top of, this is a timber structure, or timber framed structure, I should say, with composite decking. Structure is about 1,500 feet total length. In the insert picture at the bottom, where the dock takes a bend to the left, there's a crabbing pier in there. And at the very end of it, you can just see there is a kayak launch. And I will tell you, this has been through some horrendous weather. It's been through at least 2 hurricanes. And it has come through those storms very, very well. In talking to the architect / engineer, they have never had a failure anywhere in this system. And the weather in this part of the world can blow real hard. And the only thing I can think of was someone said once that during one of the tropical storms, they noticed there was about an 80 or 90 foot crew boat tied to the kayak launch, which is only 20 feet long. And I asked the guy to go back and look at the pilings and look at this. He said, well, a bunch of scrapes, but beyond that, it was fine. It was perfect. So again, Pearson Filings, Monophile System. We can go 3 feet wide out to 6 feet wide. We can go even wider if the materials that you choose lend itself to that kind of ability. Special thanks to Good Ground Marketing for all their help, and our good friends at Celerity Engineering. I also want to thank Todd Mize for the opportunity to talk to you today. I hope that some or all this was helpful and informative. And if you have any questions about building with sustainable materials the way we envision doing it, by all means, get a hold of me. I'm sure I know some of you folks, but probably not all. But again, the name is Peter Clark, and here's the local number, 713-598-9480. And this just scrapes the surface. There's so much more to be told when it comes to sustainability and so many more different kinds of projects that are out there that can be nicely accomplished using sustainable materials. And when you think that you're going to build it once and never build it again, never fool with it again, I can't tell you how many stories we hear from people who say, well, my neighbor lost his dock on both sides, and then all the docks down the coast are gone, and mine is standing fine because that guy probably thought about building it sustainably. Last note, you'll notice the background in the presentation is in fact through flow premium decking. And I encourage anybody to look at that stuff seriously. I'm sure there's a dealer in your area somewhere. And again, if not, give me a call and I'll figure out how to get it to you. Thank you and have a great day.